Squirrel Tribe, good morning. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm going to give this just a second to make sure it's all working correctly. Before we jump into everything, I'm sure you guys already know exactly what we're going to talk about today. And yes, it is Joe Biden related. And the interesting part here to me is that plenty of people have been saying this for literal years, but especially since July of last year, when just everything about the Biden-Harris administration went to absolute hell in a handbasket, and they yanked Joe Biden off the Democrat ticket or ballot for the president and threw Kamala Harris on there. I'm sorry, Kamala, because that's her actual name. So then yesterday, out of nowhere, out of the blue, all the news comes out about Joe Biden suddenly having stage 4 prostate cancer. Suddenly, like it crept up overnight, and they had no clue that this was happening. This is exactly what has this is the memo that they put out. I'm going to read this to you guys real fast. Statement from the personal office of former President Joe Biden. Last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. Now listen, there are plenty of posts over here on X that I'm going to read to you that state things maybe more eloquently than I could, because y'all have been here on Squirrel Tribe and you know that I will throw in some 4-letter words that probably don't need to be said, you know, for ears out there who don't like to hear how adults speak. The irony of the timing of this sudden diagnosis that came literally 2 days after the audio was released of the interview that Joe Biden had with, oh, what's his name? Hold on. I have it here because there's so much going on. So the interview that he had with, we're going to get it here. I don't want to mess this up. You guys probably already screaming the name at the phone because you already know. Here it is. The audio from Biden's 2023 interview with special counsel Robert Hur has dropped. He forgets names, dates, and stumbles through every single answer. He was completely checked out. And this was in 2023. All right. So that came out 2 days ago. Okay. Then there's the book that is coming out about Biden's mental decline. So the powers that be, Obama, Pelosi, maybe even Clinton, who knows if she has her hands in this, who knows how many hands are in this thing, right? The powers that be decided that now was the time to suddenly find this cancer for Joe Biden. Now, let me be just as transparent. No, whatever. Cancer sucks, no matter who you are. You do not want to wish cancer on anybody. Like, I don't wish cancer on Joe Biden. I don't wish prostate cancer on Joe Biden. I don't wish this dementia on Joe Biden. This is not something that you hope somebody goes through. You have to be an evil SOB to hope that somebody, just because you don't like their political leanings or their political side or their political whatever, to hope that they have some sort of terminal illness. That makes you a shitty person. And I'm sorry for people out there who just got upset with me, but it makes you a really crappy person to hope somebody has, you know, stage 4 cancer or dementia. It's awful no matter how you look at it. And too many people go through both of these things, and it's an awful thing for the person and for the family and friends. I would not wish this on anybody. Unfortunately, this is something that is happening. This is in theory real. Okay. Now, I have thoughts on this whole thing. In 2022, Joe Biden said the quiet part out loud by accident in Delaware while giving a speech when he said that he had cancer. And I do have that audio here for you guys. Let me find it. Okay, here it is. So in 2022, Joe Biden admitted he had cancer. And for some reason, the media, we know the reason, completely glossed over it, never talked about it, didn't do anything with it, just pretended it was one of his, oh no, you know how he says things he doesn't mean, like a Tim Walz kind of moment. They pretended that it was just this, how do you call it, a gaffe or a guffaw? I don't know how, Gaffe. I don't know how you're supposed to say that word, but that thing. And he just misspoke, right? So I want you guys to hear this, if I have the volume all the way up.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on their windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
He said, I and many other people have cancer. He admitted to this cancer in 2022, all right, which is a huge thing that people need to realize. He let the cat out of the bag early. It wasn't about the dementia. It wasn't about any other stuff. It was the fact that he had cancer. They knew it in 2022. So that to me is when the planning started for everything, right? The planning on what they were going to do with him, who was going to start using the auto pen for him, what was going to happen for the next presidential election between him and we knew it was going to be Trump. There was no way it was going to be anybody but President Trump. It was not going to be Ron DeSantis. It was not going to be Chris Christie. It was not going to be anybody else, right? We knew it was going to be President Trump, like a rematch of the showdown. And so they, in 2022, had to start thinking about what they were going to do. But what's crazy is this guy named Buck Sexton, this is what he said. He goes, their real plan was to hide Biden's dementia long enough to get him reelected. Then shortly after his second term starts, he steps down due to the cancer diagnosis. The whole dementia issue becomes moot and Biden retires a hero. If not for Trump, they would have pulled it off too. The fact that when Trump decided to throw his hat back in the ring, because remember, after his loss to Joe Biden, we thought he was done, that he wasn't going to run for president again. We thought it was going to be somebody else. And then out of nowhere, without having to go to any of the, what are they called? The pre-presidential, oh, my brain is not braining today. Come on, Michelle, you can do this. Any of the, doesn't matter. Y'all know what I'm saying. He still found a way to have the highest numbers of who anybody would vote for, right? And once the Democrats realized that President Trump, primaries, thank y'all, I love y'all so much. Once they realized that Donald Trump was like, no, this looks like you guys need me back, because obviously everything is floundering here. There weren't enough people that had enough faith in Ron DeSantis, definitely not Chris Christie and all those other people that were running, right? So President Trump was like, okay, I'm back in. And that's when I think everything changed for what they were going to do with Joe Biden. If it had been against anybody else, they would have kept him in the race. They would not have put Kamala on the ticket. That's my thought process there. They would have kept Joe Biden in. They would have puppeted him around. Whoever's hands up his ass, making his mouth move. They would have continued that tactic. And then when he won, because let's be honest here, as much as people disliked Joe Biden, and disliked what was going on with our country, there were enough people that I think would have still picked him over what any other Republican candidate that was viable or possible at that time, right? So Joe Biden would have won. And Kamala Harris would have been still his vice president. And when he stepped down, she would have become the first female president. I think that's how it was all worked out. We talked about it during the election process, that's what I assumed was the initial plan, that Joe Biden was going to go in, he was going to win the election. Still not sure how that would have happened, but it would have happened. And then day 4 or whatever in there, they would take him out. And I thought it was going to be due to the dementia, not because of a cancer diagnosis, right? They were going to take him out and let Kamala Harris be the first female president. And then we were going to be highly fucked for the rest of, 4 years, right? But instead, because of President Trump putting his name back in, everything changed. So what's crazy here is in 2022, this is Joe Biden in 2022. He walks off the set on MSNBC mid-interview. I don't even know what the interview was about at that time, because that was really before I was fully trying to understand what was going on politically. I am still a newbie at this. I will still be wrong on many things, not on purpose, but from ignorance, not intentional ignorance, but accidental ignorance. There's a lot of stuff that I still don't know, and I'm trying to figure out and learn. And thankfully, y'all are here because you do help me learn every day. So thank you. I love you immensely. But this is when he just said, you know what? I don't think I want to be here anymore, and just got up and walked out.
Well, and the ones that didn't vote for your bills but run on them.
That's right.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
it. Great to have you.
Great to have you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. It's a very exciting day around here. We'll have reaction and analysis to everything we do.
So he wasn't supposed to get up and walk away. So, of course, people are saying, oh, he pooped his pants, whatever else. But I think there was a lot more going on at that time, because think about this. If he was technically diagnosed in 2022, they would have started him on chemo. And all of these things combined with, which we're going to get to in just a minute, COVID and vaccines and all that stuff, probably worked to just destroy this man mentally and physically, his whole body, his mind, all of it. And so they're trying to get him to still seem presidential, to still do his part as a president. But let me get out of X and pull up these notes that I sent myself to read to you guys, because this is, hold on, if this will work. So I said, how many times has Joe Biden had COVID? Because I remember hearing COVID this, COVID that with Joe Biden. They were always like, he's sick. Remember, that's what they said happened in July in Las Vegas, that it was COVID and that's why he collapsed and no other reason. Well, now I don't believe that, and I didn't believe it then either. But Joe Biden tested positive for COVID-19 3 times, okay? His first infection was on July 21st, 2022. Which, interestingly enough, is the day after he made that cancer statement in Delaware, okay? Just ironically, they said he had COVID the very next day, right? So then they could say that whatever he said then was because of the mental fog due to the virus that was running rampant in his body, right? So he had it on July 21st, 2022, followed by a rebound case on July 30th, 2022, which to me would mean he's still in it. But what I think, personally, because this is how my brain works, that in July 21st, it wasn't COVID, it was the first round of chemo. July 30th, his body and whatever was going on with whatever chemo they were doing for him really messed with him, right? And so they had to say he had a relapse of COVID or a rebound of COVID. That way they could keep him hidden just a little bit longer. And then the third instance was July 17th, 2024, which is what they're saying, which is when he collapsed in Las Vegas. He was supposed to be speaking at he had 2 speaking engagements that day. I believe one was for the NAACP, I think, and the other one was for Hispanic News Network or something like that. I don't remember if it's Telemundo, television, tele something or other, telenovela. I don't know. It was something Spanish related. He was supposed to speak at. He spoke at the NAACP one, or maybe I'm reversed and he spoke at the Spanish and didn't make it to the NAACP. Either way, he spoke at one, was supposed to go to the other, and suddenly COVID hit immediately, and they had to whisk him off in a helicopter to, what's that hospital? Some hospital. And they said it's because he collapsed from COVID. Well, I would think that after dealing with prostate cancer and all these other things for the last 2 years, that maybe your body is just tired and everything's taking a toll on you. But on top of these times that they said he had COVID, he had a shit ton of vaccine boosters. So Joe Biden received at least 6 COVID-19 vaccine doses. The first one, December 21st, 2020. Second dose, January 11th, 2021. First booster, September 27th, 2021. Second booster, March 30th, 2022. And then they find the cancer. That's how I'm looking at this. And we know, it has already been said, it has been stated that these boosters, this is, well, I have to be careful here because I forgot YouTube is freaking whatever. But it has come out through the White House and through several doctors and everybody else that many boosters and shots could be allegedly, I have to say that, could be causing cancer and other issues, right? So then you have 4 of these doses already in his body. Then the cancer slips out of his mouth. He says he has cancer. Then he got another booster on October 25th, 2022, and another one September 2023. And then suddenly, the mental decline of him just went completely buck wild, right? And it says here, additionally, he received a vaccination against respiratory syncytial, blah, blah, RSV several weeks before September 2023. And then there may have been other doses of other stuff afterwards. Now, think about this. If he's getting these other boosters, like in 2023, is that actual, or was he undergoing chemo? Was he undergoing any of these different things? Like, what was actually going on? Because at the end of the day, no matter what, you can look back and realize that they lied to us. Joe Biden lied to us. He lied to us. His people lied to us. The government lied to us. I mean, just smack dab in your face, blatantly effing lied to us. One, about his mental stability or instability, but also by withholding a cancer diagnosis. So what's crazy is they're saying, He went into the doctor last week and they just happened to find this nodule on his prostate and it's stage 4. There will be people out there that go, it happens. You know, you go to the doctor because you feel something weird, blah, 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 and you find something and it's stage 4. It's already gotten to whatever stage, right? Yeah, but those people don't have the best doctors in the effing world checking them out consistently for 4 years straight. So there's issues there for me because there is no way that the president is going to have the best doctors out there and they're not going to know ahead of time that he has stage 4 prostate cancer. It's not even at all feasible or believable. It makes absolutely no sense. Anybody that believes that they just found this last week is an effing moron, no matter what side of the aisle or what part of the bird or whatever crap you belong to. It is absolutely ridiculous to think they just figured this out. Listen. Matt Walsh said, "This is the most cynical thing I've ever seen in American politics. It's astounding, truly. Biden has stage 4 cancer. There is no way in hell they just caught it now. They knew it probably for years and lied to the American people. And then they waited until 2 days before a book comes out about the cover-up of his mental decline so that they could change the subject and quiet all criticism in the name of compassion for a sick man. The whole thing is so transparent. These people are evil beyond words," which is 100% true. Now, you can look at this from the other side and go, well, you don't want other countries and world leaders, especially ones who are enemy or foe, to the United States, to know that the acting president, because at the time, acting president Joe Biden, you don't want them to know that he has serious mental or health issues. I can understand that. I can actually, and I know that sounds hypocritical, I can understand why they didn't say anything, but also as a citizen of the country that he is overseeing, I think it's absolute horseshit that they didn't say anything. You have to look at both sides of it, though, and understand that it's probably a very difficult decision to be made based off of, you say that your president is useless at this point. It gives other countries an easier window to do whatever they want to do against us, right? Then you realize that, it's been proven that through the last however many months of his presidency, if not longer than months, that AutoPen was being used to sign things for him because he's not there mentally at this point. Whenever we would see him hanging out on a beach, or he would be missing for whatever, or he would just look like a lost puppy, and his wife is dragging him around like some mental health patient and propping him up for interviews and debates and whatever else, taking the head seat at the table for, what was that, that cabinet meeting that they did where she sat at the head of the table and answered all the questions and Joe Biden sat there next to her. I expected him to start drooling at some point. Like, what? Okay. Let's continue on. I'm sorry. We need to go with this. So this is according, Benny Johnson posted this up on X, right? He said, urologist Dr. Shusterman says it's unheard of for someone with Biden's level of care to not know he had prostate cancer 5 to 10 years ago. It was a full-on cover-up. And then, let's see, this thing's kind of long. We'll give you just a little bit of audio of it because it's like 5 minutes and I don't want to steal Benny's stuff because that's not cool. But listen.
It's very unlikely that someone could get annual checkups and not notice a PSA elevation over the past, this is what I typically would see in a VA hospital where a patient hasn't had medical attention in 10 years, presents to an emergency room with bone pain, and then they find that it's metastatic prostate cancer. But in the modern age of medicine, especially the fact that he was a former president, he had intensive state-of-the-art, care where we can see prostate cancer, 10 years in the past. So this is, it's very unusual to hear that someone has prostate cancer where they're annually being followed up. And the fact that we just find it at a Gleason 9 is just pretty much unheard of in this day and age of medicine.
So either way, that you guys understand. I mean, you don't have to be the brightest bulb in the pack, right? To understand that this was a 100% cover up of what was going on. And it's absolutely ridiculous that now that it's coming out, now that they are letting it out, hold on, let's be 100% here. It didn't come out. They let it out. They timed this on purpose because of everything else. But now that they are letting it out, they want people to believe. They want they're still doing what Democrats do and assuming that the American people are dumb as dirt and that we're all just gonna be like, oh, wow, I can't believe you found that last week. That sucks. Best wishes, Joe Biden. Unfortunately, there are people out there who are stupid and they're going to be like, I can't believe, he was so healthy for the whole time he was in office. It must have been the stress of it all that got to him in the last week. It's ridiculous. And it's going to become even more of a circus over the next couple of days, right? According to this, Donald Trump Jr. posted this, and he says, what I want to know is how did Dr. Jill Biden miss stage 5 metastatic cancer, or is this yet another cover-up? Because Dr. Stephen Quay posted over on X, he said, prostate cancer is the easiest cancer to diagnose when it first starts and to watch it progress to bone metastases. The PSA blood test shows the rate of cancer cell growth. For even with the most aggressive form, it is a 5 to 7 year journey without treatment before it becomes metastatic, meaning it would be malpractice for this patient to show up and be first diagnosed with metastatic disease in May of 2025. It is highly likely he was carrying a diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout his White House tenure and the American people were uninformed, which is exactly what it is. And as a citizen of the United States, especially if you're on the left, especially if you're a Democrat, this should piss you off beyond all belief, because as Democrats, you put your faith and trust in that president and you tried to get him back into office for a second term. He was under Obama. You liked him then. You voted him into presidency, obviously, over Trump. And then you wanted to vote him in a second time, but they put Kamala Harris on there, so you didn't get a chance. But people who had that kind of faith in Joe Biden should be the most pissed off right now that the person they put their trust and faith in was blatantly lying to them. Yes, he slipped with the truth in 2022 while standing in Delaware, but after that, he didn't mention it anymore. His wife did not mention it, which, as a wife, I cannot understand the level of disrespect and non-love you must have for your spouse to parade them around the way you do and act like nothing's wrong, knowing that they have this disease, this cancer and things like that. There's something horribly wrong there to me. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong from a wife's standpoint, but I know you don't want to make your spouse feel awful about whatever diagnosis they may have, but I feel like Jill did everything she could to cover everything up because she wanted to stay in the White House so bad, be on the cover of Vogue again, things like that, right? She really wanted to be in there, and she put that love of power above love of husband, and that to me is absolutely disgusting, and yet it's absolutely disgusting. Let's see. Let's not forget this person called Oilfield Rando on X posted this, and he says, no, I will not be putting politics aside to wish this person good health, and whatever that makes me, I'm fine with it, because this was what happened 3 years ago. Let's just remind everybody what it was like during COVID with Biden at the helm.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot.
Suckers.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
Hello, like he spent his time threatening the American people over this vaccine when at the exact same time, I wonder if right now somebody were to say, hey, Joe Biden, are you happy with everything that you did to your body during that whole time frame where you were pushing this on American citizens and, basically telling them they couldn't have a job or go out to eat or do anything else without these things? How do you feel about it now? Do you feel the same now that you have a stage 4 prostate cancer that has I can't say it, whatever, gone to your bones? Do you still feel the same about everything you push? Because did you have the cancer before you had all the other stuff? That's going to be the question that a lot of people are going to ask, right? And another thing that I was thinking of earlier, oh, come on, brain. This is off Joe Biden topic technically, but the same people that were telling you that you were an awful human, an awful citizen if you didn't agree with having the vaccine passport in order to go to a restaurant in New York or get on a plane or whatever else. Now being the same ones that are losing their shit over real IDs and stuff is crazy to me. But anyway, let's continue on. The fact that this is happening right now, again, is it's not accidental. It is all by design and on purpose. So there's this other one that says, hot take, but I don't believe Joe Biden has stage 4 prostate cancer. Presidents, current or former, get the best medical care and are monitored and given checkups regularly. I think Joe's Alzheimer's/dementia is so advanced that they are making this up so they don't have to admit his incompetence in office. I think they know he will pass soon. Unfortunately, I saw the same thing happen to my grandfather, so I know how it goes. So you have other people out there going, you know, he doesn't actually have cancer. This is a whole thing, so that when it can take the limelight off of his dementia, give him kind of an excuse for why he was the way he was during his presidency. And then when he passes in the next couple months, nobody's surprised because he has stage 4 cancer. That's what a lot of people are saying as well. This is a weird one because you'd rather believe that he doesn't have cancer because, again, you don't want anybody going through that. It's an awful, awful disease. But at the same time, you don't want them lying to you. So it's like, which one do you feel better with here? That he has it or that they're lying to you about him having it? Either way, it's a really crappy thing. But do you guys remember when Joe Biden and Jill Biden went on The View I believe it was just a couple weeks ago? Let's just take a quick little look-see here. Again, this one's a little bit longer, so we're not going to play the whole thing. But this is Joe Biden and Jill Biden on The View, which those cackling hags, I can't stand them. But either way, whatever. Yeah, listen.
Mr. President, since you left office, there have been a number of books that have come out, deeply sourced from Democratic sources, that claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities. In the final year of your presidency, what is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that, number one. Number two, you know, think of what we're left with. We're left with a circumstance where we had an insurrection when I started, not since the Civil War. We had a circumstance where we were in a position that the pandemic, because of the incompetence of the last outfit, end up over 1 million people dying. We're also in a situation where we found ourselves unable to deal with a lot of just basic issues, and which I won't go into in the interest of time. And so we went to work, and we got it done. And you know, one of the things and
Alyssa, you know, one of the things I think is that the people who wrote those books were not.
The fact that his wife had to jump in is because he was losing his trail. Like, I think he had an idea of what he wanted to say, and then it all kind of went to mush, right? And again, this is a dementia thing, and you don't wish this on anybody, and you don't want to make fun of it when you see it, because, you know, I have somebody in my life who has gone through what we thought was dementia for a while, maybe not, but there are plenty of people out there who have Alzheimer's, who have these issues. And so it's not a laughing matter. It's not a poke fun at them kind of matter. But at the same time, when it is the acting president, those kind of things are a huge effing deal. And for Joe and Jill, well, technically for Jill to drag him onto The View, and knowing that he has this mental decline, knowing at that time, if it's true about cancer, that he has cancer, all these different things, dragging him out there is, again, the worst wife I have ever seen in my entire life. And I don't understand how she is the way she is. But the fact that she realized she needed to take over for him, because, I mean, you saw when the alley chick was asking the questions, he looked like he was about to fall asleep, number one. And then he just mumbled through some random stuff and then got to the end of whatever he was going to say, couldn't figure it out. So Jill steps in and takes over. That's not... I guess I'm not a fan of her in general, but I'm not a fan of her as a wife more than anything, right? And I wasn't a fan of her as first lady, but I'm less of a fan of her as a wife, because I don't think that she acts the way a wife should with their husband. Yeah, the fact that she stepped in to take over is wifely, you know, to help him out, but she put him in that position to begin with. So anyway, so you have that, right? Then let's see here. I've got, hold on. Let's see here. So then President Trump posted about this, right? He posted about it. He said, Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery. Very presidential, very to the point and heartfelt, and there we go, right? And people are saying that Donald Trump is much nicer than he needs to be with that statement. Like he didn't need to say anything, but I really do believe he did need to say something. But the let's see, Laura Loomer, as much as I dislike her, I think she's I don't like her. I don't trust her, but she is right on a lot of things, right? She posted, she goes, I reported on Biden's terminal illness almost a year ago. Terminal is 6 months to a year left to live. There are always outliers, but I suspect Biden's treatment isn't responding anymore, which is why the family is only now admitting he is terminally ill. He could die in the next 2 months. This is a PR strategy to shame the Democrats who are coming out with a book about the cover-up of Biden's health crisis. Biden might die in the next few months. If you follow my reporting, you knew this a year ago. And then she reposted what she put up on July 24th, 2024, says, Joe Biden is now in the terminal stage of his illness. This is what my medical source in DC has confirmed to me. I told you all weeks ago he had a medical emergency on Air Force One and that you'd be seeing resignations. Everything I said is true. Most people don't know Air Force One has a full medical emergency triage center on the plane. There's even an operating room on Air Force One. Just because people don't know these things doesn't mean my reporting was incorrect. It just means I'm ahead of the curve. All right. Which a lot of times she has been right on a lot of stuff. Still not a fan of her, just based off of who she is. But at the end of the day, when all the medical issues happened in July, and it was kind of a foreshadowing of what was going to happen, right? You had to know that there was going to be a end of life within a short amount of time, like just because of everything that was actually going on. And then when he finally, when he left the White House and then signed on with some talent agency to do commercials and stuff, like what? Why is this what we're doing? Like so many questions there, right? But you're going to hear a lot more information coming out, I believe, in the next couple of days. But what's interesting is I got on X this morning, first thing, because, glutton for punishment. I got on X first thing this morning, expecting my timeline to just be like overrun with Joe Biden cancer stuff. And it's like the media is already trying to tamp it down and move over to something else. Move over to something else. Move over to the Palm Spring fertility clinic bombings. Move over to what else did I see this morning? Some other stuff this morning. Oh, the fact that Donald Trump, okay, this is off topic, but the fact that Donald Trump is announcing he'll be investigating Kamala Harris. So that happened. He said, how much did Kamala Harris pay Bruce Springsteen for his poor performance during her campaign for president? Why did he accept that money if he is such a fan of hers? Isn't that a major and illegal campaign contribution? What about Beyonce? And how much went to Oprah and Bono? And I'm going to call for a major investigation into this matter. Candidates aren't allowed to pay for endorsements, which is what Kamala did, under the guise of paying for entertainment. In addition, this was a very expensive and desperate effort to artificially build up her sparse crowds. It's not legal. For these unpatriotic entertainers, this was just a corrupt and unlawful way to capitalize on a broken system. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that's interesting. That's what we have to look forward to in the next couple of days is Kamala Harris being dragged, probably as she deserves. It's coffee and it's still very hot. Oh gosh. But with the whole Joe Biden thing that's going on, I'm curious, because that's how curiosity killed the cat, right? But unfortunately, I'm always curious how things are going to go. Are they going to now downplay it and go, oh no, sorry, it wasn't stage 4, it's fine, blah, blah, blah. Or are they going to say that in the next 24 hours, something horrific happens to him? I think personally that the reason they're coming out with this stuff now is because they want a reason to hide him away from any sort of cameras. I mean, The View was horrific. It was terrible. They never should have done that. Somebody said, show me the coffee cup. It's just a Yeti cup. There's nothing special about it. It's just a hot Yeti cup. The fact that he does have dementia, a lot of times with dementia, you start talking about things you should not talk about. You start saying things you shouldn't be saying. You act in a way that you shouldn't act. So I'm personally thinking the reason they are telling us now about this prostate cancer diagnosis is not because it's new, honestly. It's so that they can hide him away so that when he starts talking, he can't let anything loose. He can't let anything slip, because the older you get, the more people are willing to tell things they shouldn't tell, right? I feel like as you get older, your level of give a fucks goes down like immensely. And I feel like with dementia, it's the same thing, because I've known people with dementia who will tell you the God's honest truth and the way they feel. They are like toddlers and drunks, because they will be very honest with you, whether you want to hear it or not. And so now with this prostate cancer diagnosis, they have an excuse to keep him out of the circuit, to keep him off of the view again, to keep him hidden away so that nobody is going, I wonder where Joe is. Nobody's seen Joe for a while, because that's what happened with Kamala after she lost, right? And had somebody else tell everybody she lost. She couldn't even, woman up for that. She went to Hawaii for a couple weeks, right? People are like, oh, we're not seeing Kamala Harris anymore. Where'd she go? The same thing with Joe. They don't want people asking where Joe is, so they're giving them a reason to not ask so they can hide him away so that his dementia won't let him, loose lips sink ships? They don't want him sinking any ships in the Democrat ocean, whatever. I couldn't think of a good analogy there, or a good pun, or a good whatever, metaphor. I don't even know if that's right. But they want him hidden away so that he can't say anything. And, it's probably for the best for them. It's probably for the best for them. But this is why, y'all, and this is not me trying to tell you guys what to do, but y'all already know how I feel about the fact that I got rid of my health insurance. I don't think I told y'all that. I told my my personal vlog channel, SquirrelTribe 2.0. I mentioned it over there. I got rid of my personal insurance because I didn't feel that it was covering what I needed. I didn't feel that it was worth the money that I was putting into it. And so when it comes time for me to be able to re-up is not the right word, but get into a new insurance plan, that's the plan, because I was tired of spending $1,000 a month on something that I couldn't get into any effing doctors anywhere. I could not get into doctors anywhere, right? So I canceled my insurance, and now I'm able to get into any effing doctor I want, and I can make an appointment. Before, I couldn't even make appointments with my insurance. It was not working, and I couldn't change anything at the time because I'm not on any, I think for regular insurance, it's like November, right? Or January? I don't even remember. I got to look into it. I think it's November. I can't remember. That was an accidental rhyme. It's fine. Y'all, I'm done. Hold on. So I was looking into it. And so once I can re-up, I will. But right now I'll be going to the doctor and just paying cash for it, which is going to be cheaper for me for just a regular checkup doctor visit than anything else. But I know at 43, I do need to get a checkup. I haven't had one in forever, but I was looking into it and I was thinking about the fact that, for you guys that are on Medicare, I know there's a lot of people here that are on Medicare. You have your Part A, B, you've got your Medicaid Advantage, your MA, which is, I guess, the C, and then you have the prescription Part D. There's a lot of time frames where people can change their plans, and there's a lot of open enrollment times and a lot of reasons why you can go through and change your plans. But with everything that's been going on, and Joe Biden's sudden diagnosis made me think of it, was that you want to make sure you have the absolute best options for yourself, for whatever doctors you may need, or whatever doctors you have, whatever prescriptions you may need, or whatever else. And so Chapter Medicare, I've told you guys about them before. I have them pinned in my description because they are free, 100% free for you to go call, and they can help you figure out if you're on the right plan for whatever you've got, right? Whether it's A, B, C, or D, they help you figure out if it's the right one. If you guys are on the best one, they leave it alone. If there's ways they can either save you money or get you into a doctor that you need to be into or whatever else, they'll help you switch over, right? And I've had a lot of people who have messaged me or emailed me or commented on here that they called Chapter. Again, it's free, 100% free to call them. And they were like, hey, listen, I didn't need to change anything. Everything's great. And other ones that are like, they changed this for me and I'm going to save like $1,400. Which is a lot of effing money, especially in today's inflation, right? But people were asking what Chapter is. So Chapter Medicare, they were founded in 2020. So they've been around for just around 5 years. But basically it was to fix a broken retirement system, which was basically starting with simplifying Medicare's complexities, Vivek Ramaswamy is a co-founder. For those of you who aren't aware, he is a co-founder. JD Vance was part of it in the very beginning as well, but they've raised over $100 million to transform how seniors navigate healthcare. They've raised the money. So a lot of people were worried. They're like, well, how does Chapter help you? How is it free? It's because they've raised the money to help. They are a tech-driven platform. Licensed advisors help you compare every single Medicare plan, find the best coverage at the lowest cost, and enroll with confidence. And it's free year-round support. So people are calling now going, hey, listen, this is what's happening. This is what I've got. And then the people on the other end of the phone on Chapter, they're like, okay, this is perfect. Stay with this. Maybe we could tweak this. Maybe we could tweak that. And if it's not time for you to be able to switch over, depending on what your situation is, you call back in October, or they call you back and you switch over. Because I know October is the open enrollment, I believe, with Medicare. I think it's October, like 15th through December 17th. Like, it's a smaller window, but there's numerous other times throughout the year. December 7th. Thank you, Sarah. There's numerous times throughout the year where you can make those changes depending on what factors you're going through, or like if you've quit your job, if you've just now turned 65, there's a lot of different reasons why, right? So for those of you who would like to call, this is going to be backwards if I show you this, but this is it. But the phone number is 513-898-3528. And again, there is a link in the description of the video if you guys want to reach out to Chapter. I partner with them because I trust in them 100%. My mom has called, my mother-in-law has called, numerous people I know have called and either have been able to make some changes that save them money, or have been told they're on the perfect one, so don't change. Again, it's free. And it's to help you, because heaven forbid, like, think about it this way. Heaven forbid that Joe Biden's doctors really were stupid enough to not catch his prostate diagnosis. Like, imagine if you have a dumbass doctor who is not catching whatever you might possibly have. They're not seeing it. So you want to see a different doctor, but whatever plan you're on won't allow it. You call Chapter or Medicare and they will go, okay, well, what are you looking for? And they will help you figure out a way to get to a different doctor if possible. If not, they're going to tell you, no, unfortunately, this is where you need to be. But it's going to be honest, truthful help. And that to me is what matters. And it's free. Also, one of the most important parts about it, it is free for you guys to call and have them help you out. So back to Joe Biden. The newest information that comes out, I will be bringing you guys everything that I can on the newest information, because it's going to be very important to keep up to date with what is going on. I'm trying to see if there's any newer stuff that has come out since we started this live stream on. So Dr. Zeke Emanuel on Biden's cancer, this came out 15 minutes ago. He said he did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. I don't think there's any disagreement about that. So you have numerous doctors, every single one so far, coming out saying that this is impossible, that they found this at the very last second. It does not make sense. It's not possible unless you have the crappiest doctors out there. And do you really think that's who they are putting in the White House to help the president, is the crappiest doctors out there? Nope, definitely not. So it's going to be interesting, all the new stuff that comes out. But let's also not forget, I want to say, white people, but that's not it. This is, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I would love to see one of my friends try to kiss my husband on the lips. Bitch, no, that's not going to happen. Mama, don't play that. So that's that whole thing. I think that was at the DNC. Ew, like just straight up, ew, disgusting, whatever. Anyway, oh, you guys want a little funny for the end of this? Let's give a little funny for the end of this. So Congresswoman Sarah McBride, really Tim, posted on X, said, I'm heartbroken to learn of President Biden's diagnosis. President Biden has faced immense challenges throughout his life with resilience and grace. I know he'll face this battle with the same strength and dignity. My prayers are with him, Dr. Biden, meaning Jill, and their entire family. And Bad Hombre replied, this is the reply of the year. You will never hear a reply better than this. Says, let this be a reminder. Routine prostate exams save lives. Make sure to schedule yours, Congressman, because that's a man, baby. Congresswoman Sarah McBride is a man that has a prostate. You can cut off your sausage and try to make it a taco, but you still have to worry about the prostate. So, interesting enough. I just thought that was funny. And I will let you guys go now. So I love y'all immensely. I hope you have a fabulous morning. Any information that you guys have that you want to share, go ahead and throw it in the comment section, because I know a lot of people would like to continue this conversation on Joe Biden and how they feel about being lied to by the president, because technically he lied to us by dragging all this shit out for the last couple of years and trying to rerun for president. Because remember, he wanted to. He was pissed when they took him off and put Kamala on there, because he wanted to still be president, knowing good and damn well that he would have died in office, which... Anyway, so that's it. I love y'all. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Adios.